Every single day, the world consumes roughly 33 million chickens. Not in a year, not in a month, every single day. That is more than beef, more than pork, more than fish, more than any other animal protein on the planet in terms of global reach. Almost every country you can name eats chicken. From a street food stall in Bangkok, to a fast food drive-thru in Ohio, to a family dinner table in Lagos, to a wedding feast in Mumbai, the chicken is always there. But have you ever stopped and asked, why chicken? Why not something else? Why did this particular bird, out of all the animals humans have ever domesticated, end up becoming the undisputed king of the global plate? The answer involves ancient history, cold economics, brilliant biology, cultural shifts, and one of the most dramatic industrial transformations of the 20th century. Once you understand it, you will never look at a simple plate of chicken the same way again. Let us start at the beginning. Thousands of years ago, the chicken was not a food source the way we think of it today. The earliest domesticated chickens, descending from the red jungle fowl of Southeast Asia around 8,000 years ago, were prized for cockfighting and religious ritual. In ancient Rome, they were kept as sacred animals, used to read omens before battle. The idea of eating a chicken was almost secondary. So, how did a bird valued for its fighting spirit become the most consumed meat on Earth? The first big reason is practical. Unlike cattle or pigs, chickens are extraordinarily cheap to maintain. They eat almost anything. They reproduce rapidly. A hen can lay over 300 eggs per year. You do not need large pastures or expensive infrastructure for farming families across Asia, Africa, and Latin America over centuries. Chickens were the one meat animal almost anyone could raise in a small yard. Accessibility was built into the chicken from the start. But accessibility alone does not explain global dominance. Something else happened. Something much more calculated. The real story of the chicken's rise begins in the United States in the 1940s and 1950s. After World War II, American agricultural scientists launched what became known as the Chicken of Tomorrow contest, a national breeding competition designed to develop a broiler bird that could grow faster, bigger, and on less feed than anything that existed before. The results were staggering. And the new breeds could reach market weight in roughly half the time of traditional chickens. And by the 1960s and 70s, that technology spread globally. Chicken farms industrialized. Vertical integration, where a single company controls breeding, feed, raising, slaughter, and distribution, turned chicken from a backyard animal into a globally engineered food commodity. In the United States, in the 1920s, chicken was more expensive per pound than beef. It was a luxury served at special occasions. By the 1980s, it was among the cheapest proteins available anywhere. That price collapse happened everywhere. Industrial farming reached, and wherever chicken became cheap, it became staple. Here is where biology becomes the secret weapon no other animal could match. Chicken is biologically near perfect as food. High in protein, lower in saturated fat than red meat, rich in B vitamins, and it contains all 9 essential amino acids the human body cannot produce on its own. Nutritionists began recommending it. Doctors treating heart disease pointed patients toward health trends throughout the 1980s and 90s that pushed people away from red meat, pushed them directly toward chicken. But here is the part most people miss entirely. Chicken has an almost neutral flavor profile. It absorbs spice, marinade, smoke, acid, and fat better than almost any other common protein. This is not an accident. It is one of the primary biological reasons chicken became a global food, A cow or pig carries distinct fat flavors that do not translate well across culinary traditions. Chicken, especially the breast meat, is essentially a blank canvas. This means Thai chefs, Indian chefs, Peruvian chefs, Japanese chefs, and American chefs can each take the exact same animal and produce something that tastes completely native to their own cuisine. Chicken did not conquer global cuisine by tasting the same everywhere. It conquered it by tasting completely different everywhere. Religion and culture played a role that is impossible to overstate. Pork is forbidden in Islam and Judaism. Beef is sacred in Hinduism. Both restrictions affect enormous portions of the global population. A Muslim household, a Jewish family, a Hindu community, all can eat chicken with zero religious conflict. Chicken is the great diplomatic meat of the world's religious table. When you need to feed a mixed crowd and do not know everyone's restrictions, chicken is statistically the safest choice. The world figured this out long ago, and it became baked into how catering, airline food, school lunches, and hospital menus work globally. There is a reason wedding banquets across dozens of countries default to chicken or fish. It is not about taste. It is about inclusion. Then came fast food, and with it, a turbocharge no one fully predicted. When Kentucky Fried Chicken, McDonald's, Jollibee, and hundreds of local fried chicken chains expanded globally from the 1970s onward, they did not just sell food. They sold an aspirational lifestyle, particularly in developing economies. Eating at a fast food restaurant was, for millions of people in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, a symbol of modernity. And what was the affordable protein at the center of that experience? Chicken. Kentucky Fried Chicken, which entered China in the year 1987, is now arguably the most successful fast food chain in that country with over 10,000 locations. In the Philippines, Jollibee's fried chicken beats McDonald's on its home turf. In South Korea and Indonesia, fried chicken culture has developed into a sophisticated local art form. The global fast food revolution and the global chicken revolution were effectively the same revolution. The numbers confirm this story clearly. The world produces approximately 130 million metric tons of poultry meat per year. Roughly 90% is chicken in the United States. Per capita chicken consumption went from around 15 pounds per person per year in the 1950s to over 90 pounds today. That is a 600% increase in roughly 70 years. In India, one of the world's fastest growing chicken markets, consumption has been doubling roughly every 10 years. In sub-Saharan Africa, chicken is the fastest growing protein category by demand. The trajectory only points one direction. Here is the perspective shift that makes all of this land differently. The chicken did not win by accident. It won because it happened to be cheap to raise, biologically versatile, nutritionally valuable, religiously neutral, geographically adaptable, and it arrived at exactly the right moment when industrial agriculture needed a product to scale globally. No other animal checked all those boxes at the same time. There are estimated to be around 23 billion chickens alive on Earth at any given moment, making them one of the most numerous bird species on the planet by a significant distance. The chicken did not conquer the world by being majestic or powerful. It conquered the world by being useful, adaptable, affordable, and present. And in a world where those qualities matter more than almost anything else, the humble chicken turned out to be completely unstoppable. Next time you eat chicken, you are participating in one of the most quietly remarkable stories in human civilization, and now you know exactly why. If this kind of deep dive into everyday things that shape the world interests you, subscribe and hit the bell. There are stories like this hiding behind almost everything we take for granted.